Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Bleach 5e update. This is update number 14, and it's been a month since my last update. For those who don't know, in that time, I was situating myself into a new job and moved to a new apartment. So that took up a lot more time than I thought it would, unfortunately. But now I'm back and I can get into the groove of things once again and get all these updates going and other content. So in that time that I've been gone, we'll put it up on the screen here. We've reached 39,000 views on the Bleach 5e book. Pretty big milestone, honestly, in that short amount of time. I can't. It's almost been 11,000 views since last month, I believe. Believe last month was 28. Um, but yeah, it's fantastic. We're so close to hitting 40. Um, Not sure what I want to do or what I should do for these big milestones like 40,000 and beyond. So if anyone has any ideas of what they'd like to see for a celebration like that, let me know because I that's definitely something I would like to do. But let's get into this week's update. So we got changelog 9.3.23. Um, so in this update, we got the updated hollow abilities for Breath Weapon, Innate Spellcasting, and Magia. New hollow abilities, decreased recharge, Quincy Vollstandig reworked, and other extended forms updated. Updated Arrancar info and Resurreccion, and added strips W and X. So at first, it doesn't look like a big update, for a month's worth of wait. But that's mainly because, like I said, I was getting into a new job and moving. And also, I'm working on a complete rework of the armament abilities. So everything's gonna be changed up. I'm gonna update everything, new abilities, new wording, new terms, and you'll probably see that once I go through some of these abilities and about kind of what I'm talking about. So I'm mainly focusing most of my time on that. So until that is complete, most updates are going to be fairly small and quality of life. So if any other changes you want to see, let me know. Feel free to head on over to the Bleach 5e Discord and post it on there. We can also talk about the video and kind of anything else regarding the book. Feel free to post on there. I'll answer, or some other community members will answer as well. So before we move on, I do want to let you guys know to please like, subscribe, share the video. Mainly subscribe. There's quite a few viewers I've had in the past that didn't seem to be subscribed that are watching my content. So subscribing is a huge help for me in the long run. So I would appreciate if you guys can subscribe. If you can like the video as well, that would be fantastic. And sharing it, of course, would be much appreciated. If you want to go a step further in supporting me, I also have a Patreon that this will help support me in my endeavor on this book. We currently have pretty good tiers. The most popular one is the Captain tier, which has access to the monthly one shots, and we also do group sessions and other content that you get for being part of the Patreon. I make stat blocks for hollows, so if you're a dungeon master or just someone that's a fan of the monsters, want to get access to them, I put it up on Patreon for them to take a look. So if that's something you're interested in, feel free to take a look through the memberships and see which one you'd be interested in. So without further ado, let's move on over to the updates. All right, so the first update is for the breath weapon. So as you can see on the left side, we have the old wording. I'm not going to go over to that, so if you want to get a refresher and read it, feel free to pause the video. But I'm mainly going to go over the changes. So on the right side, everything that you see on the left side is similar. On the right side, it just got added over to the ability. So what got added was if the hollow already has a breath weapon, instead its range is increased by 10 feet and the damage is increased by 2d6, or it also recharges on a 4. This ability may be selected multiple times, each time choosing one of the following augments. Choose the number 1 through 6 that this ability doesn't recharge on, it now recharges on the chosen number. You can only select this augment twice. Increase the range by 10 feet, the damage increases by 2d6. So right away, you can see some of the new terms that I'm going to be using moving forward with the augments once you guys see the entire armament rework, which is the word augments. Before this was called options, but I changed the wording to augments because in the future, I want to be referring to these augments, and I wanted to have a more better term for them. And just saying like armament options doesn't work when I can just say augments and people will know what I'm talking about because nothing else in the book uses that term. So that's why I wanted to use it. I had used it in a previous D20 version. I don't know if I ever posted my D20 version of the Bleach book when I was using, it was basically 3.5. I don't know if that's online. So I might post that maybe just to kind of see what the book used to look like in, third edition essentially. But I wanted to use that word because I'm going to be using it moving forward with certain abilities referencing that. So that's the term there. And then this just makes the ability scale because it wasn't, as you can see on the left side and go back on the book. Well, you can't go back because the update's going to be there. But in the previous version, you couldn't get any kind of scaling. So this changes that for those builds that really want to focus in on that breath weapon. So that's a change for breath weapon. Let me know what you guys think. Let's move on over to the next one. Innate spellcasting change. So on the left side is, what we have currently. The Hollow chooses a spell if it knows if it's level lower. It can innately cast a chosen spell twice per day, requiring no material components. Little outdated, not very broad of what exactly, you know, it doesn't say requires no SP, which, it you're not supposed to be spending SP on it because you can innately cast it. So the new wording on the right side and basically the whole change is the Hollow chooses 2 spells it knows of 3rd level or lower. It can innately cast the chosen spell once per day each, requiring no material components or SP. If the Hollow already has innate spellcasting, it can ignore the requirements for this ability and chooses one of its spell lists. They can cast those spells an additional time per day each. This ability may be selected multiple times, each time choosing one of the following augments. The Hollow chooses 2 spells and knows of 3rd level or lower. It can innately cast the chosen spell twice per day, requiring no material components or SP. Forgot to put that in. The Hollow chooses a spell it knows of 4th level or higher. It can innately cast a chosen spell once per day, requiring no material components or SP. Choose a spell the Hollow can innately cast. It can cast it an additional time per day. So when it states here that chooses one of its spell lists, I'm going to come on over to the Rakshasa, and this is going to be helping me out quite a few times with some of the changes that I'm making. So as you can see, the Rakshasa can innately spellcast, and it's got at will. It's got the first spell list, which is 3 times per day, and the second spell list at once per day. That's what it's referencing. So you can choose one of those. Obviously, you won't choose at will because that's at will. There's no limit to it. But say the Rakshasa got that ability and it chose the second one. So now when a person, fly, plane, ship, true scene, it can now cast those spells 2 times per day each. And that's kind of explains that. So that's changed for innate spellcasting. Oh, sorry. I also had here if the Hollow already has innate spellcasting, it can ignore the requirements. So right now, as you can see, the requirements are 6 hit die and Magia. There are some lower CR Hollow that already have access to innate spellcasting or lower CR and lower hit die. So if any kind of characters or for like DMs that are making monsters, I mean, you can ignore most of the restrictions and stuff. If you really want to give some little monster an ability that doesn't meet the requirements, you can. It's your campaign that you're doing. You can feel free to do it. It's up to you. The requirements that I put are just recommendations that I think should be followed. But it's your game. To break the rules however you want. At your own peril. But this is for players mainly, and to be able to get those lower CR like hollows or creatures and use them and still be able to get this ability. Because otherwise, like I'm gonna get innate spellcasting and then I won't get it for until I get 6 to die, and then I have to pick up Magia as well and get waste this other hollow ability to then get this one. So that's why I added this in here, and some other abilities will have that as well, just to help with that. So that's the changes. Let me know what you guys think, if it's any better or worse. And yeah, let's move on over to the next one. Magia update. So as you can see on the left, that's currently what the spell is. It's mainly the same. And on the right side is just the new thing that got added to it, similar to the previous one. If the Hollow already has the spellcasting feature, it ignores this ability's requirements, and spellcasting is replaced by this ability. They keep their current spells known, and they increase their spell point pool by 10. This ability can be selected multiple times, each time choosing one of the following augments. I don't know why I didn't put that under. The Hollow learns 2 new cantrips, the Hollow learns 2 new spells, same thing. So this is to help out with using some other stat blocks that aren't made for this edition. They have spell casting already on them, so it's not called Magia, and this is just to help that, so it keeps it in line and meets with other requirements, and it all kind of plays nice. And I also had that point there where it increases the spell point pool just to incentivize spellcasters to pick this up. Because otherwise, if they picked this up and it replaced it and it didn't keep your spells, or didn't do anything else but that, sometimes it might not be worth depending on the stat block that you're using for your Hollow. So I just wanted to make sure I gave it a little oomph to ensure this is something you want to pick up for the spellcasting Hollows. So let me know what you guys think. I think it's these changes for the Hollow updates, for these abilities specifically, is very much needed for better scaling and better builds. All right, here's the new Hollow ability. It's decreased recharge. I don't know why I call it increased recharge. But let's give it a read. So decreased recharge. Choose an ability the Hollow has that recharges, except for a breath weapon. Choose a number it doesn't recharge on. It now recharges on that number. This ability may be selected multiple times, each time choosing an ability that hasn't been chosen. So this is to help out with, not all of Hollow's, some abilities that monsters have that aren't breath weapons have a recharge, and this is just to give some more flexibility on getting some of those chosen. I also made it so with the wording, it's supposed to be you can only choose this once per ability, so you can't keep choosing the same one. This is just to don't get it to a busted point where an ability is just recharging at basically no recharge. So if you pick it up enough times, an ability will have no recharge. It'll just be up at every turn. So I just want to make sure they have at least like a minimum of like 2. Some abilities might recharge already like on 2 different numbers, and this will give it its third. But yeah, I want to make sure that there is still a recharge. This isn't completely negating any recharges. So this is just to help out with that and not be too busted, hopefully. So let me know what you guys think of that new ability. I think it's pretty good. And if any other Hollow abilities you want to see that aren't in the book, feel free to head on over to the Bleach 5e Discord and make a post describing what kind of abilities or any kind of changes you'd like to see as well. But let's all move on over to the next update. The next update is the Vollstandig Rework. So on the left side, give it a read. That's what it used to be. On the right side is the new one, which is quite different. So on the new one, starting from 10th level, you have completed your training to achieve your holy form. As an action, you spend 5 SP and become ascended. To remain in this form, you must spend 5 SP at the beginning of your turn, no action required, or this form ends. This form can also end early if you become unconscious or die. While in Vollstandig, you gain the following benefits. You gain 5 temporary HP for each Quincy level you have. These stack with any existing temporary HP. You gain a halo above your head known as a Heiligenschein. Definitely not pronouncing that right. It's the little halo that all the Quincy have. You gain Wings of Reishi, giving you a fly speed equal to your walking speed. If you have a Shrift, its save DC is increased by +2, or it deals 2 additional damage die of its size and type. What this means is if your Shrift, if it's dealing like 3d6 damage, it's going to deal 2 additional damage dice of its size and type. So it'll be 5d6, and it'll be whatever damage type it is. 2d8, it'll be 4d8, and so on. That's basically what that means. Your Halig Bogan base damage dice size is increased by 1 step. So 1d6 becomes a 1d8, and so on. And that's the new update. Now, the big change, I would say, is the one where at the beginning of each of your turns, you regain 1 spell point. I want to kind of take that away as a free thing. Take that away from Vollstandig itself, because that's something that the Quincy should be able to do with like the feat Sklavere that every Quincy will get at some point, or knows how to do. I'm not sure if I want to change Sclavere to a feat. I mean, to a Quincy class ability, or leave it as a feat. I'll probably be posting up a poll after this video on the Discord to see what people think about it. Because, you know, in the, what was it, season one, season two, um, when Mayuri is fighting with Uryu, stated that only, geniuses, I believe, know how to use Sclavere. Maybe that was a Wrestle 10 guy. I might be misremembering that. But I guess it got retconned, during the final arc that all the Quincy are able to do that at some point. So I'll probably be posting up a poll to see if that's something people would be interested in changing that into a class feature instead. So that's the new updates to the Vollstandig. I think it's slightly better, more in line of what we see in the show, like the second to last benefits here. If you have a shrift, gets a little bit stronger. That's definitely we've seen for all of the Quincy when they're in Vollstandig. Their shrifts are better and stronger, though some are vastly different and sometimes change. I don't know how I want to handle that just yet. So I'm doing this simple little, +2 to the DC or additional damage till I figure something out. I will either build that into the shrift. So what happens when you're in holy form in your Vollstandig, or put it on here. Not sure yet. That's something later on I will be doing. And then also with the SP upkeep, just because I'm not a big fan of the exhaustion thing, because it's similar to what the Shinigami have, and it's been stated that this form is very taxing to keep going, and that's why most Quincy kind of just turn it off because they don't want to be exerting so much. So that's why I want to give it an upkeep. So it's giving you a lot of benefits, but straining you by keeping it active. So that's what I want to do. So now there's an upkeep cost of SP, but you don't get any exhaustion when it's turned off. So that would be the trade-off. So let me know what you guys think about it. If you like changes, don't like about it, or some other kind of something different you wanted to see or would like to see, feel free to comment down below. But let's move on over to the next update. Alrighty, so now let's look at creating a first level Arrancar changes. So I need to make sure that creating a first level Arrancar is as easy as possible for people that are new to D&D or aren't very familiar with, D&D, or at least 5e and most of the rules and meanings to things. But also have enough info for the moderate to veteran players. So I'm trying to find a happy medium. It looks like what I currently have, which is on the left side, you can give it a read, is a little too simple and too vague, not enough information. So on the right side, I'm hoping it's still easy enough to follow and understand for new people, but enough information for the moderate to veteran players. So let's take a look at the new steps for creating a first level Arrancar. So it states these steps are only if you don't have a pre-existing holo and you have your GM's permission to create an Arrancar. First, choose a beast from the monster manual, approved by your GM, as your base. Any damage immunities, condition immunities, features, and actions are sealed. Second, apply the holo PC template to that creature. Third, if your hit die is below 15, you gain a number of hit die equal to the difference. Fourth, your creature type is changed to humanoid and you become bipedal. If your base has additional appendages and legs, those are sealed as well. Also, your size is changed to medium. Finally, pick a holo background and you're done. So let's start from the top and work our way down. So the first one, these steps are only if you don't have pre-existing holo. This is for those that are wanting to start right away as a level 1 Arrancar and not people that have a holo already that they've been playing with and then trying to become a Arrancar. These steps are not for that. If you have a, what's in the was the holo PC template, how it states, start as a Jukas and then, kind of play through, going through and leveling up that way, which is, I believe, the recommended method to do that. Because you guys are, these low-level holo roaming around Huecamundo, every once in a while traveling to the human world to try to get some souls and get stronger and evading, the Soul Society and not trying to get slain. I feel like that's a better experience than just doing this. But this could also be a different kind of campaign, which is a different kind of fun. You guys feel free to do whatever you want with your games. But that's just my thoughts and recommendations. So this is for those that are just starting fresh. New character, this is for that. Everyone, the party, or if it's just one person in the party, which I also don't recommend because first level Arrancar are really strong. I don't recommend a first level Arrancar being mixed in with a party of like level 1 Quincy and Shinigami or Fullbringer. They're way too strong. Do not do that. Like I said, it's your campaign. You do what you want. Highly recommend you don't do that. So you choose a beast from the monster manual. You can choose from any other, book that your GM approves, either monster manual, just because it's easy to just state the monster manual instead of saying like from any source, which I guess I could say, but it's better to keep this more in like D&D 5e, but then it says here, any damage immunities, condition immunities, features, and actions are sealed. So what exactly does that mean by the features? Well, let's go on over to our good old Rakshasa friend again. So as you can see here, these are damage vulnerabilities. These are damage immunities. He doesn't have any condition immunity, so nothing's listed there. But this guy's got limited magic immunity and innate spellcasting. So these two are sealed. These would be abilities that are sealed, for example. And the actions here, multi-attack, claw, these would all be sealed while, once they become an Arrancar. Those would get sealed away, and that's, hidden away. And so when they go into Resurreccion, they get all that back. So that's what that means when it says features. Anything between like here and like actions, those are all features. Like all this right here. These would all, everything in this area would be considered features. And third, if your hit die is below 15, you gain a number of hit die equal to the difference. So back to our buddy here, you can see the Rakshasa's got 13 d8. So that means he's short 2. They'll get 2 to make up to 15, because the Holo PC template only brings you up to 10, and this should be bringing you up to 5. Just to kind of put that extra step in to make sure people are getting followed and they meet the requirements right away to become a first level Arrancar. Fourth, your creature type is changed to humanoid and you become bipedal. So back to our buddy old friend over here, as you can see, medium fiend. Fiend is a creature type. So that means if the Rakshasa became an Arrancar, obviously after applying the Holo PC template, this would be changed to humanoid. Now that is a big deal, as that can change how certain spells will affect the Holo. And then they become bipedal, which means they get 2 legs, 2 arms. And then here, any extra appendages or legs, they get sealed as well. And the size is changed to medium, so they become smaller, as most Arrancar are. They're all like medium. Even Yami is like pretty big guy, still would be like, the very peak of medium before becoming large, just to make things a lot easier. But I mean, And then finally picking a Holo background, which I'm working on those. Well, not at the moment, but once I finish the, armament rework, I'll be getting to those as well. But that's something in the future. So for people to know, and I want that already in there to put in people's mind that, hey, Holo backgrounds are coming. Kind of like, for sure, I'm going to be making like Stark, his background of being very powerful, splitting into 2 different beings. I'm definitely going to make that a thing. So keep an eye out for that. So hopefully this kind of explains on creating a first level Arrancar, and it's a lot better. If not, let me know. There's like an extra step I should add in, clarify something on another step, let me know. I will do that if needed. But yeah, that's that for the Arrancar change. Now let's go on over to the Resurreccion change. This is a pretty big one. On the left side is the old one that you can give a read and take a look of what it used to be. And on the right is the new one. So what the new one reads, you gain a Zanpakuto toe. It functions as the Shinigami Zanpakuto toe, except it only has the magic weapon feature. Your Zanpakuto toe gains 1 armament type of your choice and 2 armament abilities. You gain 2 additional armament abilities at levels 4th, 8th, 12th, 16th, and 20th. Beginning at level 9, you're also considered ascended while in Resurreccion. As an action, you spend 5 SP and release your Zanpakuto toe, gaining the following benefits. Your max HP are doubled and you regain 5 and you gain 5 HP per Arrancar level. You heal. I can't spoke. Your unarmed strikes or natural weapons function as your Zanpakuto. You gain 2 hollow abilities. You gain access to your sealed racial traits. Additionally, your creature type and size is changed back to your base. You gain 4 non-hollow armament abilities. You can stay in this form a number of rounds equal to your hit die +1. You can exit this form as an action. When you exit this form, you gain a level of exhaustion. This form also ends early if you're unconscious or die. So the biggest changes is the temporary hit points. I want this to be more healing. So this is just mainly to incentivize how we see in the show and most other, manga and, anime, where characters tend to use these power-ups when they're like mid to low HP. And that's what I really want to incentivize with these ascended forms. And then your unarmed strikes or natural weapons function as Zanpakuto. That's still the same. You gain 2 hull abilities. That's still the same. I just removed that they're only available during Resurreccion just because it states up here, you gain the following benefits when you're released. So I don't really need to reiterate that, they're only available during Resurreccion as it's already stated before. And that's pretty much it, really, with the biggest changes. It's mainly the HP and the more better. It's more clear. The type. Well, you gain 1 armament type of your choice, 2 armament abilities. When you get additional armament abilities and that kind of things. So let me know what you guys think of the changes and if you like them or not. So let's move on over to the new scripts. So the new shrifts we have is W, the wind, or the wind. Pretty sure it's pronounced the wind. And X, the X axis. So let's go over the shrift W first. So as an action, you spend 10 SP and choose up to a number of targets equal to your proficiency bonus. While you maintain concentration, the chosen targets benefit from your shrift. Whenever an attack roll is made against a target and the target is aware of the attacker, the attack misses. Additionally, as an action, you can use the wind to slice an opponent. Choose a creature you can see within 30 feet. They must make a dexterity saving throw. On a failure, they take 66 force damage. So, similar to what we see in the show, as he's making kind of like slashing motions to do a little slash attack and just move people out of the way, so to speak, doing damage. And then what we normally see, when they invade Isol Palace, all the attacks that are being made, they're missing. So that's just kind of to make that, as long as you're maintaining concentration. As you can see, when he loses concentration, concentration DD terms, the ability doesn't work. And then if the attacker is aware of the attack, it will miss as well. So as you can see, when Senjumaru goes up and sneaks up on him with her little ability thing, he's not aware of it, so the shrift doesn't work. So it looks like they have to be aware of the attack, and I believe it's stated in the data books, for sure in the wiki. I don't remember where it's stated on there. I might post it up at that time, showing the source of that. But that's the wind. Pretty simple, but fairly powerful, in my opinion. So let me know what you guys think about it, if it's too simple or not. And just a reminder as well, once I finish all of the shrifts and I finish the armor rework, I'll be going back through doing a bunch of other changes and then seeing if I can expand on and change the shrifts and make them a little bit more fleshed out. But this is kind of like, the first go around of what the shrifts are going to look like, and then I'll make any changes accordingly afterwards once they're all finished. Next, we have X, the X axis. Very popular shrift, very popular Stern Ritter, and of course, part of the Schutzstaffel. So let's see what this one does. When you take the attack action on your turn and you make a ranged attack with your heavy bogan, you can replace any number of those attacks with an access attack. So what's an access attack? Well, an access attack requires 15 SP to use, and you pierce through anything in your line of sight. A projectile of Reishi forming a line 100 feet long and 5 feet wide blasts out from you in a direction you choose. Each creature in that line that has 100 hit points or fewer dies. Otherwise, they take 10d8 force damage. So this kind of mimics like power word kill, and I needed to find a way to make this ability very powerful and similar to what we see in the show, where it's kind of unblockable essentially, and it just this line just shoots out and it just deals damage to whatever is caught in that line. So as you can see here, that's what it does. And just to make sure, similar to that. So if it's got 100 hit points or fewer, they'll just die. And then if they do survive it, some characters we've seen kind of get grazed by and hit, they'll take 10d8 force damage, and that's kind of just sort of mimic it of that what we see in the manga and hopefully in the anime soon. So that's gonna be great. So that is the Axis attack and the wind. Let me know what you guys think about those. Big fan of how they turned out, specifically the X-axis. I kind of like that, how it turned out. I know the whole thing with Lily Barrow, how the whole thing with its eye closing and all that stuff. That's just something, I don't know if it's the Shrift or himself. And I believe that's something he himself does, and I believe he stated also that he himself had put on that restriction. So I don't think I needed to put that into the Shrift itself, as he himself is doing that to himself. And that's kind of what the Shrift seems to be without that limitation that he puts on himself. But if you disagree, feel free to head in the comments and let me know, or head on over to the Bleach Discord as well to discuss that. But that is it, folks. That's all the updates I got for today. And of course, page numbers were updated with, I believe, like 2 new pages got added. So that got updated as well for the page numbers. But yeah, that's it, everybody. Thank you so much for coming along and sticking with me on this project. A lot of changes have been made, more so than I thought I would ever make, with a lot of feedback from you guys and all the messages that I get of, certain changes should be made and all that. Currently, there is a poll right now on the Bleach 5e Discord for changing up the spell list organization. So head on over there to the polls channel to get a read on that and see where you guys want to vote. It's open to everybody that's part of the Discord. Don't have to be, subscriber or a patron for that. But if you don't want to be a YouTube subscriber, that would be great. And if you want to support me as a patron, that would be even more appreciated. So that's it, everybody. Thank you so much. I'll see y'all in the next update in 2 weeks to see what we have next for that. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night.